It's been a fat minute since my last Kengan What If battle, so we are back with a banger. Gaolang, the Thai God of War, versus Misasa, the 8th Fang of Metsudo. Two of the coolest fighters in the series clashing. First, some important things to remember. I'm using Omega Gaolang and Omega Misasa, who will be fighting in a regular Kengan arena with Kengan rules. None of this purgatory, no killing or ring out trash, or having a special circle that gets smaller, just a regular Kengan match. To begin, I will explain the major abilities of each fighter. Then based on that, how their fight will turn out. If for some reason you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do so and leave a like, it will be greatly appreciated. Let me know what other Kengan What If battles you want down below. Now, let's begin. First up, we have our boy Misasa. He may not look like it due to the inconsistency of heights in Kengan, but his height in Ashura is 173 centimeters and his weight being 68 kilograms. So for reference, he's slightly shorter than Carlos but 15 kilograms heavier. Of course, this is assuming he didn't grow in Omega as we didn't get his new info. Before becoming the current Fang, he's been a team captain, second in command of the Extermination Force, and martial arts master of Retsudo, the son of Metsudo and current leader of the Extermination Force. Of course, the only fight we've seen from him is against Yumi in the Purgatory tournament, with it also being a special match. The start of the fight is Misasa seeing what Yumi can do by blocking and dodging most of his attacks, while around this same time we have another Extermination member pointing out that Misasa is toying with him and waiting for the last minute to end the fight, calling it one of his bad habits. His training was based around trying to make the best out of what he has, not being something he's not. As such, he has the ability to easily crack this boulder with a casual hit from the back of his hand, with his martial art being Salat, consisting of soft movements rather than hard movements like Muay Thai. Coincidentally, Gaolang is also a master of Muay Thai. He uses this style to parry with his elbow, which also knocks Yumi off balance and attacks outside of his awareness. Kano states that no amount of size difference can make up for an attack you can't see coming. He pairs this by aiming for vitals, with his skill set being based around bringing down opponents with bigger builds, with him using his small size to his advantage in this regard. Something that's also cool is Gaolang shows respect to him, saying he doesn't think he could beat him easily, which was pretty cool when that happened. To clarify a few things about their fight, Yumi's character profile mentions that he would have done a little bit better if Misasa hadn't set him up. The enclosing ring and Misasa kind of being a counter to him is my guess for that, but confirms that Yumi is the weakest out of all of the Fangs. So for the people who think Misasa would have lost if it was a regular match, that really isn't the case. We also got this dodge from Misasa during the fight, which could be a foresight dodge based on the artifact, but we only get it one time during the fight, and the extent if he does have foresight probably isn't that high due to there not being very many cases and not having a direct connection to the definitions apart from the potential artifact connection, so it won't really be that relevant for Misasa. Now onto Gaolang, who has a lot more stuff to consider, but I more so did that in my Gaolang video, so I won't talk too long about specifics and more so focus on things that may put his abilities over Misasa or counters he may have. His height is 187 centimeters and his weight is 91 kilograms. For context, the fight will look similar to Gaolang vs Carlos when comparing their physicals. This of course will be a striking match as Misasa hasn't shown any grappling abilities, so no need to explain Gaolang's counters for them. People like to say Gaolang is weak because Carlos didn't get knocked out the second the God Glow hit him, but the other feats we got from Gaolang kinda disprove this and show that Gaolang's strikes are indeed very strong. Leaving this mini crater after punching downwards, has the ability to cause Kano to black out, also has enough power to break through Kano's indestructible, and shatter boulders in Omega with his new fist. So if you consider everything, Gaolang strikes aren't weak whatsoever. Misasa doesn't really have any durability feats, as the only damage he got from Yumi was the cut on his face, as he blocked and dodged everything else. I don't think anyone believes he's more tanky than Kano, so of course Gaolang can indeed hurt Misasa, and to be fair, Misasa can hurt Gaolang as he focuses on vitals, and Gaolang's durability isn't on an insane level, but he is at least more tanky than the likes of Okubo for comparison. Gaolang, when fusing his boxing and Muay Thai, is considered the pinnacle of strikers, with this being said 2 times, including that he has the fastest blows. This fusion as well in Omega was able to completely dominate Carlos, who has many implications that he's the best striker on Team Purgatory, but they'll be explained in a future video. This would mean Gaolang would be a more skilled striker than what Misasa would be. We even had Misasa calling the jab exchange between Gaolang and Carlos pretty high level, and Kano confirming that Gaolang's improved from Ashura to Omega. Now onto the speed argument, which will probably have the most importance during this video. We don't really know how they compare to each other. Gaolang does have faster strikes based on statements and more reach, so that would give him an advantage by default. But to be fair, Misasa was built to fight against bigger opponents and excels at such. I'm just going to say they're relative in movement speed, even though there's probably a better argument to say Gaolang is above. For the sake of the video, they're just relative and we don't really definitively know the truth. But the difference will come out in their mastery of foresight. I mentioned the panel of Misasa before, but Gaolang has much more proof to argue he has foresight, and to a much higher degree. Let me explain. First, I'll just be using the Kengan Omega definition as it's more recent, and many explanations in Ashura kinda overlap with the pre-initiative definitions for some reason. To summarize, a master of foresight can infer their opponent's next move by subtle motions. This includes things like movement of muscles, center of gravity, shifting eye lines, and breathing. Now Gaolang's showings of this. He reads Kano's center of gravity, moving to stop a kick before it even happens, said he can read Carlos, and that regardless of him being faster, as long as I can figure out the pattern of your motions, I can hit you. Very clear examples. We do have a few others, but there's no point in going through all of them. I think everyone gets that Gaolang has foresight. Now to prove how his degree is much higher. Carlos's insane movement speed comes about thanks to two things: his new build with pretty much no muscle, and his mastery over pre-initiative. With this being pointed out by Kano, he detected his inception of intent and dodged before the attack was thrown. With this reminding him of his fight against Kuroki during the Kengan Ashura Annihilation Tournament, and questions whether Carlos is on their level. We also had Oma connecting Carlos to Kuroki during that fight as well, so Carlos could potentially have pre-initiative on Kuroki's level, or at least very high level pre-initiative. So Gaolang's mastery of foresight is to such a level he can overcome Carlos, who on a base level is faster movement speed wise and has high level pre-initiative, which pretty much would mean Gaolang would dominate against someone like Misasa, who doesn't have that. Misasa is kinda outclassed and countered in a couple regards. Of course, he excels at close range, but without the speed advantage or striking speed advantage, he can't really get in close, and Gaolang with his speed, foresight and reach should be able to keep him away and eventually knock him out. So I'm gonna have to say a regular Kengan match should go to Gaolang. However, I don't believe Gaolang will just zero diff Misasa and will end it in a few blows. Misasa is someone who blocks and parries a lot, and will probably be successful in doing that against boxing alone Gaolang, but once Gaolang pulls out his multi-fusion, he should overwhelm him. But for fun, what if Gaolang replaced Yumi in the special Purgatory match? I do think it would be a lot closer, especially if the fight gets to the ending stages where Misasa by default will be close to him, giving him an advantage, but him surviving to that point is still a little bit unlikely, also considering that Gaolang is much smarter than someone like Yumi. So yeah, Gaolang is the winner for this what if battle. If for some reason you think Misasa would win, let me know your arguments down in the comments, but don't say some shit like, oh, Misasa is the Fang, so of course he's going to defeat Gaolang, because, you know, it doesn't really matter in today's context. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to join the Discord if you want to talk more about Kengan greatness, follow the Twitter for more cool things, and as always, shout out to the people who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's it guys, peace.